On this week's weekly video fishing forecast, Fred is at Jones Beach Bait and Tackle with his report. We show you a quick, delicious, and easy way to prepare blowfish, and our correspondents check in from around the island, all here at the weekly video fishing forecast.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
The big game fishing continues out in the deep off the beach. Greg of the charter boat Patty Ann out of Capt sent me these images of a nice wahoo and a big yellowfin caught in the canyon during the week while chunking and trolling. News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen was out Monday and was part of the crew that landed this 150-pound bluefin tuna off the Rockaways on a bunker school. Let's see if this weekend's weather will cooperate to get in on this hot action. Rich.
All right, thanks, Matt. Hey, anglers, let's check out this weekend forecast, a very interesting forecast you may have heard already. We're tracking, of course, the potential for Hurricane Henri to make a very close call to the island. So check your favorite apps, websites as we get closer to the weekend, as this forecast will be ever-changing rapidly. So water temps 70s, warmed up quite a bit. That may factor into how Henri will develop and also strengthen, so we'll keep an eye on that. Wave heights, of course, Saturday, anything you're going to do, Saturday is going to be the safer day throughout the day, and then the waves just really start to build. We get those big, big waves out in the ocean. We'll see how close Henri tracks to the island. You know, further west going to be really bad, further east not as bad, but again, that's going to determine on the exact track of that. GFS, though, has been a little more bullish in bringing it closer to the island. Some of the other models have been a little further east. So, again, you got to check the forecast as we get closer. Go to the National Hurricane site. They have a pretty good tracking site as well. Northeast breeze could really get up there as we get that storm coming very close. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting over the weekend. But Saturday is going to be the better day. Got the full moon this weekend, too. High tides late morning on the North Shore, early morning on the South Shore. Got to really pay attention to those as well. Temperatures will be in the 80s both days. And again, you know, this is one of our tracks that we have here on weather computers from the National Hurricane Center. But, you know, go ahead online and check that NHC site to see exactly what they're looking at in terms of the trend. And in terms of the Guru, you know, there's Saturday. You know, there's not much wind. That's going to be your money day to fish if you want to get out there in the ocean. Sunday, though, obviously, with the big wind and the big waves coming up with the approach of Henri. How close it comes, that's the big question of the weekend. Either way, stay in touch, be safe, have a wonderful weekend. Matt, back to you.
Fred has been checking out the action along the western piers, and at the same time he visited the updated Jones Beach Bait and Tackle. Fred.
A lot of people have been asking lately, you know, beaches a couple of weeks ago were littered with these jelly-like creatures. It turns out they're not jellyfish. They have nothing to do with jellyfish. Some people were saying they were jellyfish eggs. They're actually called salps, S-A-L-P-S. It's a marine vertebrate that whales feed on. They themselves feed on plankton. And apparently it's not that uncommon an occurrence, although not in the volume that we saw a couple of weeks ago. So all you people that asked about those quote-unquote jellyfish, they were salps, S-A-L-P-S. I'm over here at Jones Beach on the fishing piers. Great place to be in the summer. You know, the surf fishing can get pretty slow at times during the summer, and just as a change of pace, you might want to check out piers like this one here at Jones Beach, where if you have kids especially, you can catch a marauder species. There's a lot of small sea bass, there's small blowfish. You can have a chance of catching a keeper fluke. At night, there's lights out here on the piers. Striped bass come in under the lights at night, sometimes weak fish. So it's a great opportunity to spend some time near the water in the summer without all the hassles of getting on the beach and beach access, all that stuff. So give it a try. And Jones Beach right now, they've developed a really nice situation over here where you can dine out, but I'm going to let Brendan Ratigliano describe what's going on over here now.
We've done a lot of new improvements here at Jones Beach Bait and Tackle. A couple of them is we expanded our inventory. We basically have 400% more than we used to have. We redid the entire in-store interior of the store. And we added some new live bait, frozen and fresh baits. So we expanded our menu. We went from just burgers and hot dogs. Now we have a shrimp platter, we have fish flounder, we have chicken sandwiches, and a bunch of other stuff. We got 10 new picnic tables outside. We got some umbrellas. We're trying to make it that beer garden vibe. We actually got our liquor license, so we'll be selling beer and wine. and we have local beers and a bunch of craft stuff. So we're just, you know, trying to make this a better atmosphere with that beachy palm tree vibe. So this is a great place for families because we have 4 fishing piers in the park. It's great for little kids. There's a bunch of small sea bass. You'll have action all day long. Come on down to Jones Beach Bait and Tackle, and we actually have a special for you guys, a burger and a beer for $10, or you can do a soda for the kids as well. Come on down. We guarantee you'll have a great time.
Last week we went out fishing with Captain Al Lorenzetti for Blowfish, and now producer and chef Tim C. Smith will show you how to cook these tasty treats.
So you may know me as the video producer of the Fisherman magazine, but I also like to cook. Now, we have these great fresh blowfish fillets here, and we are going to quickly cook these. The best way I like to cook these is to fry them. So, got an egg wash, I got some panko, I'm going to throw some salt and pepper in there, some Cajun seasoning in there. I'm going to kind of mix it all up. Nice little seasoning there. I'm going to quickly just dip the fish into the egg wash. Now into the panko, get a nice good coating on it. There's one, we're going to do the other. Into the egg wash, into the panko, get a nice coating on it. And now the next step is into the fryer. Alright, so while the fish is cooking, I'm going to make a quick little sauce, a little sour cream, some Tabasco. I'm going to whisk that up. I'm going to serve that on the side. And that'll be a nice little dipping sauce for the fish. The blowfish only need a few minutes on each side. Let them get golden and crispy. All right, fish looks good. Nice and crispy, golden brown. Just set that aside for a few seconds. Let some of the excess grease drain off. And put it on a plate. Put a little sauce on the side, or maybe even on top. And there you go, delicious blowfish.
Now let's check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim.
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings everyone from out here on the east end, out off of Montauk. Another really good report this week. Pretty much the offshore is the spectacular side of the report. We'll get to that in a minute. Locally, inshore, things are still keeping very active. We have plenty of fluke sea bass, stuff like that. It's coming over the rails. Plenty of porgy fishing anywhere from Montauk all the way out to Block Island. A lot of bigger fish. Starting to see some double digits on a couple of the headboats. Tommy Cusimano on the Sea Wife, he actually had one of his best fluke last week. It was, I believe, 12.5 pounds. And he had a couple other big fish as well. Locally striped bass, I got a couple pictures from Dan on the Double D. They're still putting some big cows in. Seems to have picked up a little bit over the last week. A couple of the other boats doing the same thing, like November Rain, and Kenny Hadachek's putting some big bass on the My Joyce. Plenty of small bass in the beach. Any of you guys that are surf casters, get ready. It looks like it's going to be a really good fall season. We're already starting to see some pockets of boiling bass right up on the beach. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. Anybody who knows Montauk and knows the rocks and where to go is probably going to be able to find them right now. Still some really good bluefish around, anywhere 12, 15 pounds, really big packs of them, a couple hundred fish in a pack. In regards to the offshore report, these guys are banging away at some really nice yellowfins out on the edge. The size quality is getting better. We're starting to see fish up to 140 pounds pretty consistently. I've had a couple boats tell me they were boating yellowfins 120, 140 pounds consistently. The big news is guys are running out, they're getting the night bite, and pretty much by first light, they're all tired, sore, caught them up with so many fish. Little Steven on the 5-star, he went out the other night just 2 days ago. They limited out for a 13-man charter in a matter of hours, and they were heading back to the dock within a few hours on yellowfins. Other than that, things are still going well. Weather's going to look a little snotty for the weekend. We have a potential hurricane coming up the coast. and that should change things. So we'll see what happens after that. All right, everybody, back to you, Matt.
From Shinnecock, let's check in with Mike Dean. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Still having some pretty good fishing going on. You know, the typical summer patterns. Sharks still pretty crazy. A lot of beaches were closed yesterday west of Shinnecock Inlet. Reopened this afternoon. So yeah, it's been like at first light. I've heard of a number of people that have seen these sharks crashing bunker very, very close in. A few catches as well as on the bunker pods. Also on the bunker pods, pretty nice sized bluefish from what I heard of last week from a couple of people. The stripers off the beach has not really been much of anything other than a couple of random catches on clam bellies. I haven't been able to catch any off the beach since I last spoke with you guys. Did get a few though back in the bay. That bait influx around the marsh has actually been pretty good. So there have been some small bass on them. Pretty much sunsets when I've been going. I think that's been about it. Obviously shallow water, so poppers, spooks, and kind of has to be second half of incoming, first half of outgoing to really target them. Fluke bite seems very strong. Hampton Reef had a couple of really nice catches, and that typical 70-80 feet of water, both just east of Shinnecock, down to like Bridgehampton, and also to the west of Moriches. I've heard of some good catches there as well. Tuna bite's been a little tricky offshore. I just spent a full day at the Hamptons Offshore Invitational, and we got the skunk. But pretty amazing to run 95 miles offshore, see the life that's around. We started at Fishtails, worked our way to West Atlantis, stopped at the weather buoys, saw a lot of pilot whales, saw a bunch of yellowfin tuna crashing the surface. Right before we left, we threw some poppers. We didn't have any luck. A couple other boats in the area did get some mahi. Over the radio heard of some nice albacore, longfin catches, along with a couple of big eyes. Right now I believe it's a 271-pound big eye in first place for the Hamptons Offshore Invitational. I'll have a little bit more on it for you next week. Tournament routes up this Sunday. If you're around Oakland's, this weekend weigh-ins will be going on. Pretty much after like 5 o'clock. A lot of the overnight trips did very well out in Hudson Canyon on some big eyes. So that's some pretty exciting stuff going on. Fall run's just around the corner. Get everything in order. As you see, I have a couple of treble hooks and to crush the barbs on, replace trebles in the back with some single hooks, and obviously get a lot more sandy limitators. So get out there this weekend, have fun, catch them up. Thanks, Matt. Back to you.
Now let's get an update on the Dreamboat contest with Tim C. Smith.
No change to first place Henry Piacentino and second place Michael Briggs. But Joseph Yam is back on the board after entering a 3.67-pound sea robin at East Coast Bait and Tackle, replacing his 2.87-pound entry. Combined with Joseph's other entries, he has a total of 17 points, which creates a three-way tie. Because of Yam's 15.55-pound bluefish is heavier than any of Garrett Weir's or Ahmed Solomon's fish entered, Joseph wins the tiebreaker. The Dreamboat Fishing Challenge is the Fisherman subscriber-only season-long multi-species fishing competition with a chance to win a 25-foot Steiger Craft Center console powered by Yamaha, along with many other great prizes. Subscribe now to the Fisherman magazine to be part of all the action.
With our Flying Freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Here I am, another week out at this beautiful Connecticut Park. I'll be guiding today. Hopefully I'll be able to post some pictures with my client, Bob. Hopefully we're going to be able to fish. I actually like this type of day. It's overcast. It really is. Fish are rising on the pond, so I have high hopes for the rest of the day. Just to let you know, we did go, my wife loves snapper fishing. So last night, she said, let's grab the old snapper poles and get out there and go catch some. We caught a few. But it was actually his old gentleman, Sean, who did very well. He was using bait. We were using poppers. But he did very well. I would say he caught 12 for every one of ours. But we had a great time. It's always good to get out. As far as the saltwater scene, There again, I'm hearing of the stripers out east. I'm hearing some stripers even inside. People are saying they're catching a few stripers even in the back bays. What we need is cool weather to get them coming in. As far as the ponds, little weedy, but you can find ponds that are open. The carp fishermen, they're still doing well with the fly rod. It's a sight fishing game, so you got to really put in your time. As far as the rivers like Housatonic and the Farmington, both are in excellent condition right now. We're waiting to see what happens on Thursday when the storm comes by. Hopefully it's going to blow right through and we're not going to get as much rain, because I want to go fishing on the Housatonic for smallmouth next week. So, until next week, tie lines, everybody.
From the Fire Island and Great South Bay area, let's check in with Captain Lorenzetti.
Hey Matt, Fire Island report. 10-pound fluke caught inside Fire Island Inlet, but not a lot of fluke around. Pretty tough pick. The reefs to the west of Fire Island, Hempstead, for example, better fishing than on the Fire Island reef. Although I did, last week I had an 8-pound fish on the reef, but fished a couple of days ago and all I had was shorts. So the shark fishing on the bunker pods is crazy, just outside the inlet every morning. You can hook them up and have a blast with that. I did that today with a fellow and his 2 children on board, and they had a blast fighting the fish and released it at the boat. So that's about it, I guess, Matt. Oh yeah, also the blowfishing is now excellent. A lot of crabs, a lot of snappers, so there's a lot of other activity going on. So that's it. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, Matt.
From Northport, we have Mark McGowan from Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle.
Fishing's pretty good over here on the North Shore. It's been nonstop fishing, still all about the porgies. Fluking's tough. I had to go out and prove on Sunday with my wife that there are some fluke around. It's a good bite. It's tough, but they're there. Just got to work these special spots, ridges. They love the rocks. These fluke, they're going to be in the rocks. Sea bass is still around. Striped bass was pretty good, and then it started slowing down midweek. I'm looking for this moon as everything changes. We're going to have to see what happens with this big heave that's about to happen. So I'm hoping the bluefish still, they're just going to build up. They're on these small baits, and they're everywhere. We've got lots of peanut bunker in the mix. I've seen not a whole lot of adult bunker all the time, and then a lot of butterfish showed up in the triangle area. So there's still red hot fishing going on. It's just that time of the August. If you're in the right place in the right time, you'd be surprised. Out in the middle grounds, out in the shoal areas, there's been the normal bite we usually see in August. That's red hot too. Stick to your deeper depths, try some big rattling type lures and rattle. Sometimes it gets these fish, it brings them up, and they really love to hammer your stuff. Listen, until next week, I bid you peace and tight lines.
Dave Anderson of the New England edition of the Fisherman has an update on the Coastal Kayak Clash. Dave?
Well, after a very active week last week in the Coastal Kayak Clash, this week the defense rests. We did not receive a single entry. So here's a quick look at the leaderboard. There's no changes up there, but remember, the fish of the month this month is a sea robin. Go out there and get yourself a big bird. You might just win yourself a $100 gift certificate to yakattack.com. Good luck this week, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Let's check in with Chris Ludwig. Chris?
Hey, thanks, Matt. What's going on, guys? So this last week, everything seemed to come together in a great whirlwind of fishing conditions. The weather was absolutely flat calm, and the bunker pods were so close to the beach that we had access to fresh bait all day. Moving forward, we saw spinner sharks busting through these pods like missiles, just throwing water left and right, and we got into them real good for quite some time. Then we got into the brown sharks, the sand tigers, and the rays. Pretty much since after last week's report hit is when this bizarre action just took off. But just to be clear, all these fish, the sand tigers, the browns, the duskies, what have you, they're all prohibited species. We just can't do anything about it. There, it is what it is. I mean, we treat them right. I do, so I'm not worried about it. If you thought the number of sharks and predators out there was large, it just kicked up a notch. That rough-tail ray that we had was absolutely giant, though, because that thing pulled drag on a Tiagra 50 wide on full strike. We caught that on a pretty much half a bluefish, by the way. Okay, so I was talking to other anglers on the beach and everyone had the same story. They're pretty much just in a wall of predators and they can't get through them to catch anything else. I want to talk about something else real quick though that I just can't help but notice. I mean, do you guys see the tuna out there? Everyone's catching bluefin on bunker pods, to my understanding, in fairly shallow water. I've never seen this really in my lifetime here. I've also haven't been looking, but it just seems like an incredible time to be fishing. I hope everyone's out there enjoying it. And back to you, Matt.
Captain Mike Sentry has the latest from Staten Island.
Hey Tim, Fred, and Matt, hope all is well. Well guys, Mike here. What can I say? Today's Tuesday, and it's been nothing but a spectacular morning chasing really close to shore giant bluefin tuna. Not targeting the giants, but there's a lot of big fish here. And somewhere in between there's 65 inches to 70 inches. Almost all the radio chatter this morning has been on live bunker, and quite a few on harness jigs. Myself hooked up 3 times, fortunately. 1 pull the hook and 2 snap the leader. It was 80-pound pink fluorocarbon Yuzuri. Bumped it up to 150-pound Yuzuri. They don't want it. They see it, I don't know. But not getting hit with that. So pretty much everybody around has been hooking up. You got the boats back here, they're hooked up. The guy somewhere back there, he's hooked up to a giant. He's been fighting it for about 2 hours right now. So there's a lot of fish to be had here, this close to shore. So this morning, look at the video that I got this morning. Pretty much just bluefin busting water all over the place. So get out here, enjoy yourself, make sure you have your HMS permit, and have some fun. With that said, back to you, Matt.
Remember to like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. And of course, to be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dreamboat Contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. Check out this video's description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. Please support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. Stay tuned in next week where I visit a location that's been around since 1932.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.